Hey class, this is Mr. Clark. These are the video lecture notes for History 20, Chapter 7, Western Europe and Byzantium, circa 500 to 1000. Next slide. Germanic peoples who had invaded the Roman Empire over the course of the 5th century had, by the early 500s, established a set of kingdoms in what had been the Western Roman Empire. Next slide. The Roman Catholic Church increasingly looked to the Bishop of Rome for leadership. As such, by the 4th and 5th centuries, the bishops of Rome were often given the title of Papa, Latin for father, a term that we translate into Pope. Next slide. Cities shrank drastically during this period, and in those regions of Gaul, that is what is known as France today, north of the Loire River, they nearly all vanished in a process we call ruralization. Next slide. The Byzantine Empire, also known as the Eastern Roman Empire, survived and lasted almost 1,000 years longer into the 1400s. And here's a map that shows where the Eastern or Byzantine Empire was located. Next slide. Byzantine Empire Justinian, who reigned from 527 to 565, is well known for his codification of Roman law, and he is almost certainly the most famous Byzantine leader of this era. Next slide. The most important crisis faced by the Byzantine Empire in the early Middle Ages was the so-called iconoclast controversy. In the Eastern Orthodox Church, there was a dispute over whether icons, that is, images, statues, mosaics, things like that, should be depicted in church. And this caused a huge split within the Eastern Orthodox Church in the Middle Ages. Next slide. On the other side of Europe, a Germanic tribe known as the Anglo-Saxons took over Britain by about the year 600. Next slide. Christian missionaries arrived in Britain around that same time. Next slide. The Frankish kingdom became the most powerful state in Western Europe during this period. And this is a map showing the Frankish kingdom under King Clovis, who reigned in the 700s. Next slide. One family who served as the mayors of the palace would rise to prominence above all other noble families in the Frankish kingdom, and their name were the Carolingians. Next slide. The greatest Frankish Carolingian king was Charlemagne, who lived between 742 and 814. He was crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope in 800. Next slide. Throughout the Middle Ages, a power struggle emerged between the Roman Catholic Church and the kings of Europe. The donation of Constantine was at the heart of this conflict. The donation of Constantine was a document later proven to be a forgery that allegedly gave authority to the Catholic Church and this donation of Constantine can be dated back to the Roman Emperor Constantine. Again, it was later found to be a forgery, but again, it was used by the Catholic Church as evidence of their authority and legitimacy. Next slide. The Carolingian Renaissance was a unique period in the so-called Dark Ages in which learning and interest in knowledge of the ancient world was valued. Next slide. Europe was attacked by many groups during the Middle Ages. One such group was the Vikings. Next slide. And that's it for notes for Chapter 7.